kept going. And this is one place you go. I go to a lot of places, and you walk in the door and you just feel fear on everybody. And you just feel a spirit of fear almost everywhere you go, but you come in here, it's just peace. And I'm thankful for a place you can go where it's just, everybody just has peace. I mean, look at the kids, they're a little bit rowdy and stuff, but look, they got a care in the world. And adults here, you know, we're living in the peace of the Lord. And the Bible says that God does not give you the spirit of fear. So if you're walking in fear, that's God's sign to you that He didn't give that to you and you're doing something wrong. I mean, you can be facing death and it'll be fun. You know, if doctor told me I'm going to be facing death here soon, I wouldn't like it. But I still have peace. Because I know when I take my last breath here, my next breath is in heaven. And I've seen many church people and Christians fall by the wayside this last year. And when you see them out, when they're honest with you, they'll tell you, man, I am miserable. I should have never let myself slip out of church. And I hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. And we've been preaching that all year. Hey, don't you judge us, get mad at us, think about us all you want to. We're going to live in the Spirit of the Lord, the peace of the Lord. And I'm so glad the decisions I've made the decisions to do things I do, and everybody supported me. And we're still going strong. I mean, we're going strong. And we still need to invite people to come. I know it's harder to get people to come to church today. We still need to invite. And we still need to try to share the gospel with people, still try to get people saved. We can never lose sight of that. And you know, I told a few people, I said, I'm so happy right now. Everything's really going good. I got to be careful I don't get complacent. Because there's still a lot more work God's got for us. And just because church is going smooth, our bills are always paid smooth, people still coming. We've always got pretty decent attendance every time we have it, and people's watching us from different states and everything. We still can't be content. We still got to be, I mean, we can be content in the Lord, but I mean, we can still, look, we still got work to do. There's still more. There's still lost souls out there. There's still people needing what we got. I thank God for what we got. I thank God for what I got. Because I couldn't have the peace and joy and the happiness I have right now if it wasn't for God. Because every time I try to do something in my own power, in my own mind, my own will, I just make a big mess. But it's like I said, God don't give us the spirit of fear. If you have fear in your life, that's God's way of telling you, hey, you're doing something wrong. Because I didn't give you that. And anyway, today we're on Revelation chapter 9 this morning. Tonight we'll be on Revelation 10. And I have spent a lot of time studying this. And I do every teaching lesson. But if you want some big fancy, weird, I'm not trying to write books. I'm not trying to sell DVDs. I'm just trying to teach you the Word of God. And if you want something weird in Hollywood and all that, you could just go TBN or something. And if you want to be confused to death, I mean, I might confuse people, I don't know. But if you want to be confused and be taught that you can't understand Revelations and it's over everybody's head, and it's so symbolic, only the enlightened ones will get the answer, then you probably won't like my teaching too much. And if you really follow teachers who just make up stuff and just going on with stuff they made up, you probably ain't gonna like this too much. And I tell you, I listen to every minister I can when I'm teaching Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Acts, Romans, whatever. I can't listen to many people Revelation. They're really off. The dispensationalist people are the worst. I mean, they take every scripture, they find the Old Testament, twist it, turn it upside down, say it means stuff it don't mean. And it's come from like the Schofield Bible on, and people's trying to fit the Bible to follow that Schofield doctrine, and it don't fit. And that's why everybody's so confused on Bible doctrines and everything. And I use commentaries. I got a bunch back there. Sean's like, which one are you going to throw against the wall? Because ain't none of them King James. I said, I don't read the words, I read the commentary. Because sometimes they might teach you something that And I do read a lot of commentaries, and a lot of them is really bad too. But, you know, it's not that I'm so much smarter than everybody, but my goodness, man, they call Jesus Satan and Satan Jesus, and they tell you the church is out here for everything goes bad. And why does God even give us the Bible to warn people if ain't none of us going to be here, you know? And I don't know. But anyway, I'm going around, I'm getting on teaching. Tyler said that's 80s looking. I like the 80s. So how many people in here can get amen like the 80s? Was it not the best decade ever? Yeah. Ezra, did you see that? Everybody raising their hands that live in the 80s? I told my kids, ha, 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 you didn't get to live in the 80s. I was born in 1978, so I didn't have a lick of memory in the 70s. My memory kicked in right in the 80s started, so I got to remember every bit of it, and I loved it. And we didn't have cell phones, but we didn't miss them. And we still in that age where the kids play video games a little bit, but they weren't real good, so we still played outside too. And okay, the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven. Where did the star fall from? It fell from heaven. And this star, it's just, imagine looking up the sky and you see like a meteor shower or something, you know, a shooting star. That's just what it looks like. Okay? Fell from heaven into the earth. And to him was given the keys of the bottomless pit. Would you give somebody you wouldn't trust the keys to the bottomless pit? Would you give if you had, okay, let's say you had at your house, you had a cellar of real bad stuff. So you had a bunch of man-eating pit bulls or something. You had a bunch of rattlesnakes. You had a bunch of deadly animals in your house in a cellar or something. Are you going to give somebody, your enemy, that key, or are you going to give somebody responsible that key? You're going to give somebody responsible that key. So the key was not given to Satan here, okay? That fallen star from heaven is not Satan. It's just an angel come down to this bottomless pit, because only good and perfect gifts come from above. The wrath getting ready to be poured on the earth does not come, it comes from God. But he don't say, here, I'm going to pour some wrath on you, peace. I'm going to pour some wrath on you, joy. No, that's what comes from heaven. But what's coming, the wrath of God, it's coming from the pit. It's coming from the bottomless pit. It's a nasty, nasty place. And he opened the bottomless pit. Angel stuck the key in it. He opened it up. And Satan doesn't have that key. If Satan had that key, he'd done been opened up a long time ago, tormenting us with it. But Satan's not tormenting Satan. Satan's not casting out Satan. This wrath is on Satan's people, on Satan's followers, on Satan's children. I went backwards. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there rose smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit. Now this is what's going to happen when that angel opens that pit up. Smoke. It's going to come up. That even it's going to be dark outside, kind of like an eclipse. And these poor old people that didn't accept the Lord, didn't make the rapture, they're the ones they are left behind. They're left on this earth to live through the wrath of God, and they look up and the sun's darkened. And let me tell you something about Bible prophecy. The Old Testament prophesied Jesus. It prophesied what would happen during Jesus' 3.5 years on earth. And the disciples, they would read something in the Old Testament, and then they'd see Jesus fulfill it. And what Revelation is prophesying here, this is going to happen. This is literally going to happen. And there are people on the earth, there's going to be people left behind that knows the Bible. There's a lot of sinners that know the Bible. And they're going to be sitting back waiting. There's going to come a time when these locust-like creatures are coming. And they're going to look up and they're going to see the sky get dark. And they're going to be, oh, no, here it comes. And the sun and air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit. And there come out the smoke, locusts, upon the earth. And to them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Okay, now I'm going to tell you something. I backed up a little bit to Revelations 1:18. Jesus said, I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I'm alive forevermore. Amen. And have the keys of hell and death. Jesus is the one that opens this up. He had his angel open it up. Satan does not have that power. We do not give Satan power that he don't have. This is the power. This is the wrath of God. Jesus handed the key to the angel. Angel come down. He opened it up. Poured out. Now, like I said, people will say, call Jesus Satan, and angels demons, and demons angels, and Satan Jesus. They have it all messed up. And it was commanded them they should not hurt the grass of the earth. What does locusts do? They eat up the grass of the earth. But this one, these are different kind of locusts. These are God's wrath locusts. Neither are the green things or any tree. These locusts are different. They're not going to eat plants like the locusts of the world do. You know, locusts cause the world a lot of trouble. People be out farming. They'll have their crops. They'll have their fields ready. And here come a bunch of locusts. Zoom, just eat them up. And locusts usually last. They seem to come every several years, and they last about 5 months when they come. And I've seen some countries, they'll just raise a bunch of ducks and everything because the ducks will eat the locusts. Or they'll spray a lot of poisons or something to kill them. Locusts are a bad problem. But this ain't going to be a locust be problem on plants. But only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And remember we read in the last few chapters where the 140,000 is coming to earth had the seal of God on their forehead. And the wrath wasn't poured out until they were sealed and protected. So the locusts are going to be unleashed on the men of the earth that don't have the seal on their forehead. I'm telling you, man, all you people that's backslid, all you people that's quit church because the news told you to, you better be getting your behind straight and get back in church. You better be getting your act together and get back holy. Quit listening to unchristian people. Quit listening to lesbians and unbelievers on TV. Get your act together and get back living right for God. And those of you who are living for God, we don't need to get high and mighty because we think, we'll get prideful because we're still in church and we're still living right. And we've watched half the church backslide or more. But I'm telling you, it's time to get our acts together because none of us wants to go through what's fixing to happen. And if the Bible says it, and it's been canonized, John the Apostle put his approval on it. Holy men through the last 2,000 years put their approval on it. If it says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And we can dodge this. We can miss this if we're right with God. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment is as the torment of the scorpion when he strikes man. Now these locusts are going to be unleashed on men, and they're not going to be killing men. They're going to be putting them through miserable pain. We don't have scorpions in Tennessee, but people out west that do have scorpions. People in other parts of the planet, other parts of the country, other countries that have scorpions, they'll tell you, you don't want to be stung by one of those. It's a miserable pain. Sit back and think of the worst pains you've had. Some of the worst pains I've had is toothaches. I've had broken teeth. I've had abscessed tooth. I've had kidney infections. I'd rather have a toothache and every tooth in my head than have a kidney infection. If you ever wonder why you see me and I've got a drink, not an alcohol drink, I've got a tea, water, coffee or something, because I used to have kidney infections. I had kidney infections for 2 years straight. It was horrible. It was miserable. I went to the doctors. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. I suffered for 2 miserable years with that in my childhood. It was awful. I noticed that drinking cold water made it go away. So to this day, it's just in my head, I had to constantly drink something cold because I hated that pain so bad. But I still got relief. That cold water gave me relief. And if you got bad toothache, the best cure is antibiotics to kill the germs. But then you can take some pain medication and stuff. But when you get these locusts torment men, guess what? You get no rest. The pain is not going away. You can eat all the poppy seeds in Afghanistan, all the opium in China, and it's not going to go away. And yet the pain in a human body, in a human spirit, when the pain gets so bad, the body shuts down, sometimes dies. I've heard people that's got 3rd-degree burns or whatever, 4th-degree burns. They got their whole body burned. They said, man, when the pain gets so bad, your body just shuts down. You don't feel it. It gets numb. You just don't feel it. But not in this case. Because this is the wrath of God. Look how wicked man is. Look at the Bible's telling us what's happened in the last days. Look at most of the churches at home. Look how wicked man is. Man, I just sit home and watch filth and porno. I think it is what half the men on the planet right now is hooked on pornography. If you say something about guns or something, they kick you off the internet, but it's full of pornography and child porn and everything like that. They won't kick that off. They kick you off if you say something Christian or something, go on a little rant about something. Man is wicked. Man's heart is wicked. I can't for the life of me imagine why, or for a long time I didn't, I know why now, how anybody would make songs that they know is going to corrupt kids. Would make movies with vulgarity. And you can't have a movie, just a clean movie, from start to finish without some kind of cussing. They got to throw at least one cuss word. You got to throw something a little bit nasty on every kind of movie that you put out. Star Wars was pretty clean for the most part. I know some people's like, well, the Jedis, and it's a rip-off of the Bible and all that. But it was pretty clean. You didn't see sex or cussing or vulgarity. Not now. You watch Star Wars and make sure you got a 3-second lesbian make-out scene and everything. They got to throw something in there. The man buys this. Why don't they stop putting that in there? Because people still watch it. They love it. Man loves vulgarity. They love perversion. That's why they don't have peace, because God does not want us to have perversion in our mind and in our heart. Why is God pouring the wrath out like this? Because man will not repent. In those days, man shall seek death and shall not find it. Man, this pain hurts so bad I want to die. But you ain't going to get no relief. You got a toothache, you go to the dentist or something. Yank it out. I had an uncle got a plier and pulled his front tooth out. My goodness, man. They're not going to be relief. You're not going to die. You're going to have pain so bad it would have killed a normal man in the past. Not when these scorpions hit you. Death shall flee from them. No rest. And the shapes of the locusts are like unto horses prepared unto battle. Like unto horses. Didn't say they're exactly shaped like horses. They ain't walk around. Woo! They're shaped like horses. Meaning they're going to be pretty tough bodily. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold. They ain't going to be like perfectly gold crowns with jewels on it. Say, I'm the king. It's going to be as crowns of gold. They're going to have like, look like gold armor or something on their heads. And their faces were as the face of men. As means similar to the face of men. They're going to be pretty ugly, creepy looking creatures. Nothing creeps me out worse than seeing a half man, half human. Half man, half animal, anything. People's made sculptures of half man, half human. That TV characters were, cartoons not so bad. Like Goofy and Mickey Mouse, they're talking animals. When I see a human with pig ears or dog ears, so it freaks me out. I used to have bad nightmares when I was a kid. That my mom left me in a store and I had to go home with a half mouse, half man. And it freaked me out. And I had a real creepy dentist office, man. It's so outdated. And I go in there and them women like, Arr! And they had beehive hairdos that was creepy. And I dreamed I had to go home with this mouse man, and his dentist aides were there. And it was just the worst nightmares I ever had. And then in the 90s came out the Biker Mouse from Mars or whatever. It was a TV show cartoon. And it looked just like the Mouse Man. I had to go home with it. And still this day, that cartoon and them toys and stuff just freaks me out. So you imagine how creepy these little mean creatures are going to be with the little man faces and stuff. Oh. And they had hair as the hair of women, meaning their hair is going to be long and stuff. Women, for the most part, had the long hair. And their teeth was at the teeth of lions. So, I'm not going to get in here and say the teeth of lions means Ethiopia and Libya. No, teeth of lions means these creatures are going to have teeth look like lions. I ain't trying to write a book, make money off you people. Okay, I'm just telling you, the Bible's just telling you a story and giving a description. People try to make this stuff too out there. And they have breastplates as if there were breastplates of iron. They're not going to be little iron. And the sound of their wings is the sound of chariots and many horses running the battle. Can you imagine you'd be You know, like, man, I wish I'd made the rapture, you know, but I just ain't giving up porn. I wish I made the rapture, but I like listening to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre all day. You know, you'll be sitting there washing your dishes, and all of a sudden you hear like horses coming, like a bunch of them. When you see them scorpions, you're like, oh no. And here they come, zoom, just, you know, get you. And you can't kill them because it's talking their breasts is like iron and everything. You'll be stomping on them, you won't be doing nothing but hurting yourself. I tell you, this is the wrath of God. This is stuff I don't want to see. I don't want to deal with. I don't want to face. And they had tails likened to scorpions, and were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And usually that's how long locusts come and do their things, about 5 months. And I know as the kids we find locust shells and stuff, you know. I think it was locust, wasn't it? Anyway, oh, it's not locust. What is it we find out? The what? Okay. I always thought it was locust, but anyway, that ain't important. But anyway, this is something, like I said, you want to miss. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit. Is it the devil? Is it the demon? Is it the Satan? No. God has an angel over the bottomless pit. If it was a demon, it would have said that demon. If it was Satan, it would have said Satan. Like I said, God's got a storage room with bad stuff in it. It's not in heaven, it's in the bottomless pit. It's sealed up. He don't give keys to demons, the devils, or they'd be messing with it all the time. He gives keys to the angels. Or this angel's particular. And this is what freaked me out, because I've been taught wrong. Has anybody ever been taught wrong on anything? Okay. So when you're taught wrong and you find out you've been wrong, what's the wise thing to do? Try to make the Bible fit what you believe, or change your mind? I've always thought that Apollyon and Biden was demons. And I heard a preacher say one of them, and I kind of hate this because he was a pretty good man of God. I trust him. But he said when television come out, he turned on TV and the demon said, I'm Apollyon. I'm come to destroy mankind, you know. And the Pilgrim's Progress, anybody ever heard that book? He calls Apollyon Satan. But it says they had a king over, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. Okay, if you look up the Greek word, I'll get into it in a minute. I mean, in Hebrew it says Abaddon, and in Greek it's Apollyon. My name in English is Eric, and my name is in Spanish is Enrique. You know, and John in English is John, and John in Spanish is Juan. And so it's the same meaning, same name, but just in two different languages. In that Hebrew, it's Abaddon. Hebrew is Apollyon. The one was past, and behold, there come new was more hereafter. Let me go back to that. Okay. Everywhere the Hebrew word says Abaddon, it translates destroyer. Everywhere the Greek New Testament translates Apollyon, it's destroyer, destruction. There is an angel of destruction. And so what did God say? He said, don't fear man, but fear him who's got the power over to destroy the body and soul in hell. Who is that? Who's got the power to destroy the body and soul? He said, don't fear man. Just say fear Satan. No, fear God. God has an angel of destruction. And if you go and get your Strongs out, look up destroyer, destruction, everything, then go look up the Hebrew word, it's Abaddon. Then go look up destroyer, destruction, look up the Greek word, it's Apollyon. I thought that was pretty cool and pretty neat, you know. But God has an angel of destruction. That's why he had to kick him out of heaven to do it, because there's not destruction in heaven. There's peace, joy, happiness. But he's, like I said, he's got a storage unit of bad stuff, but it's not in heaven, it's in the bottomless pit. See, this stuff is not real confusing, is it? But people's made it they write these books that thick on a couple of chapters. Man, there's not that much to it. That's why everybody's walking around confused to death. It's a shame, you know. These guys will make movies like Left Behind in a bit lick like Revelations, and millions of people watch it. I've heard people say that, well, I see you in church, and why were you in? Oh, it's okay, I'm in a home reading the Left Behind series. That ain't church, you know. That's Hollywood. But yet, we're sitting here teaching it like it's supposed to be. And listen, I have teachers too. I'm not just saying I come up with all this perfectly myself. There is people I found that teach this stuff good. Now, I discovered stuff that they didn't. They discovered stuff I don't. Kind of working together with them. But see, we're making sense out of it. You know, we'll have 20 people here listening and maybe 20 online, about 40 people listening. I believe we've got it. I believe we've got it whooped for the most part. But because we ain't trying to make money off of nobody, we ain't got a whole lot of influence. One woe is past, and behold, there come 2 woes more hereafter. And the 6th angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the 4 horns of the golden altar, which is before God. And, you know, I told you that in heaven, they're kind of doing rituals in Revelation like they did in the Old Testament. The priests would do and everything. You know, priests do the rituals. And there's a golden altar before God, and the horn said, okay, say unto the 6th angel which had the trumpet. Now, remember I told you 6 and 7 in Revelation parallels with 13 and 14. This chapter parallels with Revelation 16. And I want to show you, prove that here in a minute. And it says, say unto the 6 angels that had the trumpet, loose the 4 angels which are bound in a great river Euphrates. A lot of people believe, I didn't dig down deep, I didn't spend the time on it, but a lot of people believe that's where the Garden of Eden was around the river Euphrates. If you look it up on the map, it's in Middle East. You know, there's a lot of countries around it, you know, like Egypt and Israel and all them places. It might be in Israel a little bit, but anyway, Israel's kind of close to it. Turkey and all that. But they believe the Garden of Eden was there. Remember, there was a sheriff that would protect the Garden of Eden, make sure nobody go back in there. But there's 4 angels in the great river Euphrates. Not demons from hell. There was angels. Okay, and it said, and the 4 angels were loose, which prepare for an hour and a day and a month a year, for to slay the 3rd part of man. Now, people's done been raptured. Say there's 8 billion on the people on the earth when all this happens. Okay, there was a vial that was poured out, or the seal that was broken, whatever. That like a 1/4 of men died through like pestilences and plagues and diseases and all that. We read that in the earlier chapters. Okay, more than likely 2 billion people have been knocked off. So and then there was a rapture and stuff. So let's just say there's 6 billion people left. 1/3 of them is getting ready to be killed. Now death's still around. Like the scorpions didn't kill nobody, but death's still around. And 1/3 of these people left on earth is getting ready to be killed. And this is why I said this parallels with chapter 16. Okay, and the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. So there's going to be 200 million army people. Why are they killing 1/3 of men? I don't really have to answer that. Not everybody's going to take the mark of the beast. Because the 140,000 is going around and say, look, don't take it, don't take it. Well, are they killing the ones that don't take the mark of the beast? We don't know. Are they killing the ones that are not joining them? I don't know. But 1/3 of the men is going to be killed by this big mean army. Who's got a population right now that can... America's got 360 million people living in it. We don't have enough men to make a 200 million people army. Now, I believe they're going to come from all over the world anyway. But like I said, our parallel chapter says a lot of it. It's here in a minute. It says the kings of the earth, but also 16 mentions the kings of the east. What country is east? China. I'm going to get into Babylon and tell you where the Chinese believe their first emperor came from Babylon. And people back in John's day believed that. How they rebuilt the Babylonian gardens. And how it talks about how they made the merchants of the world rich. Where does all of our products come from? China. I'm going to get into that later. I'm going to get into a whole lot now. But it says, okay, but just think about that. They're coming from the east. Now, more people's going to be joining them. I think it's going to be join me or die. And it talks about later in Revelation that the river Euphrates dries up so they can cross it. Okay, this is Revelation 16, 12 to 14. You can read the whole chapter and see what I'm parallel. I just had to, for the sake of time, cut it down a little bit. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates. You know, we're reading about the trumpets and all this. Okay, this is the same thing as the vial's been poured out. Poured his vial on the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up. And the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. Okay. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. What is the symbol? What do you think about when you see a dragon? China, and all that. Why does the Bible talk about dragons so much? Well, I've never seen a dragon. Have you? You ever talk about animals, like every animal, you know what they are, and then talk about a dragon. Was it a dinosaur or something? But anyway. But I'm getting into some pretty cool stuff here. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth into the kings of the earth. Now, earlier we read where it from kings from the east, but it's also kings of the earth too. They're gathering together to meet at the battle of Armageddon. Together in the battle of the great day of the God Almighty. Now, I told you they already have a Space Force. They've had a Space Force forever. Trump didn't start the Space Force. He just claimed it, I guess. What are they making a Space Force for? Have they seen aliens or something? Are we going to be in Star Wars, find other planets, fight Darth Vader and everything? No. They're getting ready for the great day of the God Almighty to battle Armageddon. They're prepared now. Man, they're taking our tax dollars. They put the mamas to work, the kids to work, and everything. Get to work. Get the taxes in here so we can get these weapons made. They're preparing for all this, man. I'm telling you, they're preparing for it. And I saw the horses in the vision, them that sat on having breastplates of fire, and of jackal and brimstone, and the heads of the horses are the heads of lions. Okay, remember that. The heads of horses are heads of lions. And out of their mouth issued fire, smoke, and brimstone. Can you imagine a lion with a fire coming out of his mouth? And by these was a third part of men killed by the fire and the smoke. And I believe it's partly, I think it's intertwined in a spiritual, symbolic, and a real thing. I think it's guns, weapons, tanks, and everything. Airplanes, the armies are getting together. They're meeting the river Euphrates to dried up so they can cross it and go toward Armageddon. And by the brimstone which issued out of the mouth. For their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For their tails are like serpents. And they had heads. With them they do hurt. I'm thinking, okay, I'm trying to picture 2021, say it ends today. You know, say it starts, tribulation starts, and, you know, several years from now we see this happening. What kind of weapons looks like a lion? It has tails like a snake and all that stuff. They're coming from the east. And they got 200 million army. You know, they're killing everybody. I'm like, I'm trying to picture the weapon. And while I was trying to picture the weapon, my head like a lion. Fire comes out of the mouth. Tail like a serpent. Sounds like a dragon, don't it? I honestly, 100% believe that China is part of the Babylonian system. I'm not trying to get political. Our politicians work for China. They've worked for China for a long time. They're bought and paid for by China. We sold out our country. Nothing. I'm a retail guy. I sell stuff for a living. I've been selling stuff for a living since year 2000. So it's what, 21 years? There's nothing made in America. Everything's made in China. We're even going to get our meat and the produce and everything from China. Everything comes from China. Our elite had everything go to be made in China because it's cheaper to be made there. And they messed with the currency. $1 here is $10 there. They did it on purpose. So, I mean, they got pretty much slave labor, but it ain't pure slave labor. Still, we send somebody in China $1, they can do a lot with that dollar. I can order stuff from China for $2. I'm like, how in the world can they make any money shipping it to me when I bought it for $2? When I had to, if I ship something to Gary and Warspring, it cost me $3 or $4, even if it's no bigger than this. How can they send it to me for $2? Because $2 to them is like $20. So they can afford to pay that. The elite did that on purpose so they can make money Everything is made in China. Everything. I mean, nothing's been made in America since like way before the 50s. Then it started being made in Japan, then Hong Kong, and then China. And since China, that's about where everything's been made. But go back and read this chapter, see if it don't sound like the dragon. I'm telling you, man, that's Babylon. And the great whore is definitely the Catholic Church. And it kind of intertwines. I've got a little bit of figuring to do before I teach it in detail. And the rest of men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented of their works of their hands, that they should not worship devils, and idols of gold, and silver, and brass, and stone, and of wood, which neither can see, nor hear, nor walk. If you don't think people still worshiping stones and rocks, and just travel the world, just see. Go to India, man. They're worshiping statues. Some of the biggest religions in the world are worshiping statues and their gods. I mean, even New Age people. What did they do when they're doing their rituals? They got stones and rocks and everything. And that's still going on. Men is stubborn. Men is hard-hearted. I couldn't tell you since I started this church how many people come to me like, oh, my life is miserable. I'm going to start coming to your church. I was like, good, we'll help you out. They never come. Why? Because their heart is hardened. And I'm telling you, man, if you pray for them people, if you got somebody in your family that's stubborn, you got to be careful when you just beat them to death with gospel, because every time you hit them with it and they reject it, their heart gets hard and hard and hard. So you got to let God do a lot of the work too. Best thing you can do, you still witness to them, but your best witness is just living a good, pure, clean life. And then letting them know you're peaceful. You have joy. And I was telling Tyler, I said, man, I ain't got charisma, nothing. I ain't a high school quarterback, class president. I ain't nothing. But why I don't like controlling people. I don't like telling people what to do. I just don't like getting into people's business. I got a lot of qualities that makes me not really a good leader. I'm not pretty, but I dress goofy. But listen to me. I'm telling you, I'm one of the most peaceful, joyful, happiest people on this planet. And to me, that's the kind of person I want to follow. If I'm looking into health issues, I want to follow people that's healthy. I look more into the Amish than I do Big Farm, because they're healthy. I look at other parts of the world. I look at people in the 1800s. About every story I've been reading, there wasn't that many diseases in 1800. You think everybody just falling over dead and everything. They wasn't. They living 100-year-old wasn't nothing. The life expectancy started dropping after 1900s and electricity and everything, And anyway, but I want to follow leaders that feel good and they're getting something out of this and not trying to trick people. I'm not trying to trick nobody. I ain't made to see it. I'm in the negative on income-wise on being a Christian and minister and stuff, but I'm not in it for money. And I want people to have peace like that, because I haven't always had peace. I've had anxiety. Why? Because I was on the wrong path. I've had fear before. Why? Because I was on the wrong path. I've been broke, flat broke, working 5 jobs, making a lot of money, and still didn't have. I wore the same shoes for 3 years. Why? Because I was going the wrong path. I want to get people on the right path, and the right path is living for Jesus Christ. Okay, now they're repenting their murders. Look at abortions, and man, I'm telling you, the lead to the world. America drops bombs, tens of thousands of bombs on countries every year or every several years. We just don't hear about it in the news. Why are we dropping bombs, killing everybody? We fight against abortion, say, oh, we hate abortion, yet we drop bombs on innocent people that have nothing to do with us, nothing. We do, look it up, we drop bombs all over the world. We kill people all the time. Murder is happening all over the planet. You think God ain't get sick of that stuff? Tyler's been in the military. A lot of them wake up when they're out there getting shot at like, wait a minute, I'm not fighting for my freedom. I'm guarding a poppy field. I'm not fighting for the freedom of America. I'm getting resources to make cell phones with. They tell me that. Honestly, that's the truth. They repent of their murders or their sorceries. Look up the Greek word. Get you strong out. Look up sorceries. Pharmakia. I worked for Greek people a long time. I told them, I said, guys, can you understand the old Greek written 2,000 years ago? Yeah, easy. Simple. Pi. I said, I want to strangle every one of you guys because we had to fuss about translations and stuff. You got to just read the pure words. But they said they're scared to death of doctors, the Greeks were, because imagine walking to a drugstore and it says witchcraft, sorcery, devil worshiping place. And then they were scared to death of doctors and stuff and going to pharmacists. Because pharmacy means sorcery. Drugs has always been used in like satanic rituals and false religion rituals, and they take drugs and then they go do their seances or whatever. I mean, every religion in history, a lot of them use drugs. Look, what's the absolute plague on America today? Drugs. What's the bondage today? Drugs. You wouldn't believe the preachers that are on drugs. I try not to judge if they've got pains, if they got real like kidney stones and stuff like that. My last pastor, he said, man, he went and got his nerves burned out of his back because he was scared of getting on pills because all of his family got hooked on it. And I appreciated him for that. I thought that was really great. He lived in pain to keep from being hooked on drugs and stuff. But I've been to churches where the pastors come to me, eyes as glossy, and I knew they had health problems, so I didn't try to judge. But I heard Phil Kent preach one day, and he said, and there was some preachers that was booked at his church that canceled because he was controversial. They said, we can't come, you're controversial. And he got pretty mad about it. And he said, let me tell you something, people. It's a lot of these young preachers that you all hoop and holler over. He said, they're on pills and their wives. He said, they're sitting in their buses stoned out of their mind on pills. And he was pretty mad. He was spilling the beans, but he didn't name. I listened to a lot of preachers. I was trying to say, who is he talking about? Who's he talking about? I had a pretty good idea because I know who canceled on him. And I listened to them preachers, and one of them starts talking about kidney stones. And my wife was on kidney stones, and she had to take a lot of medication. I was like, So Phil Kidd said, preacher and their wives. And then the preacher starts talking about some stuff they went through. So they was on pills. So preachers are preaching from thousands of people how on medication. And then another preacher I thought it might be, his new wife talked about her being on pills. She was hooked on pills until just recently. So when he left his wife for her, she was hooked on pills. Okay. So I'm like, man, sorcery's really got this planet in a mess. But they're not repenting of it. That's one reason they're getting their behinds kicked. Nor their thefts. That's the end. Tonight we'll hit chapter 10. And I hope this ain't been too miserable. I'm telling you, I hope this is making sense. I hope everybody can read Revelation now and it makes sense. It makes good sense to me. I wasn't alone. I used helpers and helps and good Bible teachers. And I even listened to some bad ones, just to make sure that Revelations is not that hard. I'm telling you, it's not that bad. You don't have to over-spiritualize everything.